What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Humble Warrior checking in with you. Really just wanted to talk a little bit about some comments that I had read today in regards to, I guess, the Titans game, because a few people now are really harping on that game. They're speaking in terms of how Tua let them down, or how he didn't, rise to the occasion and perform in the elements given what was, going on around him, and how he basically, I'm not gonna say threw the game, but how he basically sucked during that game, which I already made a video about how he performed. Let me help some people out with this. Coaching is a very important aspect of football. If you don't make adjustments, if you don't understand what the opponent is doing to you, or if you don't get the schemes or the different defensive signals that's been relayed and displayed on that field, then you're letting your offense down as a head coach. Now, Brian Flores, in that game, as you saw, they went into the game running the ball in the first quarter, and Duke Johnson was killing them. He was getting nearly 5-6 yards a carry. He ended the game on 7 carries for 49 yards. The second half, they didn't run the ball not once. They just dropped back and threw it. Because Tua, at one point, he was on pace to throw for 45. He was on pace to throw 45 times, but they don't do 38. So actually, he was on pace to throw for 50 times, but they don't do for 30. He only attempted 38 passes. And he had that deep bomb to Waddle and whatever. But other than that, I mean, that game he sucked. But I don't put all that on him, because Brian Flores never made any adjustments. He didn't even talk to his coaches at halftime. He just went back out there and he smothered that kid. He went to embarrass Tua, and it worked. And they paid the price. 34-3, they paid the price. And they got knocked out of playoff contention because of poor ass coaching. Now, if you're a smart man, when they was only down, I think it was, I want to say it was 7-0 or whatever, and they had a chance to, it might have been a 3rd and 3, a 3rd and 4 play or something like that. They had a chance to run the ball and you threw it. That right there set the tone for how that game was going to work, especially in the first quarter, because they had technically shut out Tennessee. The defense was doing its job. And for whatever reason, Brian Flores refused to run the ball, even though he could see Duke Johnson getting about 13 yards when he was touching the ball. I mean, he was going for chunks at a time, and they couldn't tackle him. And when they did tackle him, the first guy didn't bring him down. So you have to look at things in its totality. You can't just, basically blame Tua for losses, because everything don't fall on him. Now, if you guys want to speak about this perfect world in football, the running game helps the passing game. It ain't the other way around. It's not. Because if you got a legitimate running game, then guess what they're going to make the defense do? They got to bring more and more people in that box. Ask the Tennessee Titans how many times a game gets, when Derrick Henry lines up, how many times you see a 9-man front. Because he can actually run the ball. So when you run the ball, you can do play action, and all them guys going to come up. And when they come up, just like against the Dolphins, because Foreman was running down the Dolphins' throat. When they came up, the Titans were wide open. So he could pick which one he wanted to throw it to. Which, common sense-wise, you throw it to the person that's wide open, right? So, in a nutshell, to blame Tua, I mean, you got to be asinine at this point. I mean, yeah, he didn't have the greatest season, but I even read a post from this woman named Tiffany Williams, who keeps stating how much Tua sucks, and yet she fails to realize that he only had one weapon, which is Jalen Waddle, and he used him to the max. The kid got over 1,000 yards this season with 6 touchdowns on 104 catches. A receiver now got over 1,000 yards on Miami. That didn't even happen last year. Gronkowski was their most used weapon last year, but he still got over 600 yards on, like, I think 70-some catches. But Waddle had 104 for 1,015 yards. So if they just go get another receiver that will perform as well as Waddle has, and don't get nobody from no damn Penn State or nothing like that. Go get you a deep threat. Get you a deep threat receiver that's going to stretch the field. They can let Waddle operate one-on-one against people. Because they kill me with this, oh, well, we'll just pick up anybody. No. You go get a receiver that's going to run at least 4.3 or a little bit faster than that. That's going to make the defense respect the deep ball. Because even this narrative about Tua can't throw deep, he hit Waddle on a dime. And that was against the Titans. Then he hit Waddle again against the Ravens. Then against the Jets, he hit Hollins. And some people said Hollins had to stop to catch the ball. If you watch the game, he backpedaled, caught it, turned around, kept going. Because he was already wide open on the play, but due to the pressure that was coming around to it, he had to step up and step to the left. And then he delivered the ball. No, he stepped to the right. Then he threw the ball. No, he stepped to the left. I'm right, he stepped to the left. Then he threw it. And if you watch the way he threw that ball, he had one leg in the air when he threw it, which means the rest of that was pure arm strength. And he threw it 53 yards in the air to Hollins, who was wide open, who had the safety net got over there. He was just cruising to the end zone. But he pushed him in there. The last 10 yards he got pushed. So to sit there and say, you know, Tua can't do this, he can't do that. A lot of you guys are just trolls at this point. You're really just finding reasons to bash him. Because even Tiffany went on to say that he's a bust. No, sweetheart, he's not. He's not a bust. He's far from it. He's already put up, 4,000 plus yards. I know he's not in the same ballpark with Burrow and Herbert. I'm not even trying to compare him to those two. They had a great takeoff to their career. Now, Burrow had got injured, and he came back the next season and balled out. Herbert hasn't gotten injured yet. Why? Because he has a respectable running game, and he has receivers around him, and his line has gotten better this year. So he hasn't taken unnecessary punishment. But people keep pushing this narrative that Tua's injury prone, this, that, and that. Yet they still fail to acknowledge what happened to him against the Bills. The second series in that drive, did that man not whiff on that pass block, and that boy literally ate him up from his blind side as he was trying to throw the ball. Because he was going to complete the fourth down play, but Jesse Davis, of course, as usual, whiffed on the block. When he whiffed on it, old boy got around him, and you can call it a routine tackle, but he spiked Tua into the ground when he didn't have to. He didn't have to do that. So in turn, Tua ended up fracturing his ribs. And then people say, oh, they just play through it, because that's what quarterbacks really do. Ask Big Ben how much that shit hurts. Ask him. It ain't nothing fun about playing through an injury just to win a game. It may give you this sense of, oh yeah, he's tough, but then that man got to go home with that injury and deal with it. Ain't nobody else gonna be dealing with it. And to his credit, he wanted to come back in that same game. But Brian Flores said, no, no, we're going to reserve you. We're going to let you rest for a while. And then he brought in who he wanted to bring in, which Jacoby Brissett. And you saw what happened to the offense. You saw it for yourself. Against the Bills, they didn't even get in the red zone. They got beat 35-0. Then the next week, they lost to the Raiders on a BS no pass interference call. But even in that game, it took him so long to get warmed up to finally start making passes. The defense was suffering. Now I'm pretty sure, especially off the rip now, listening to Doug, because I wasn't able to access that game, but listening to Doug, he missed Gronkowski wide open. He missed him. Wouldn't even throw him the ball. He threw it, I think, to Waddle or Parker. I'm like, bro, that's Tua. That's a touchdown. He's going to hit Gronkowski. He's going to see him and hit him. But the season's over with, and this video is mainly about the Titans game because people just keep harping on that game. It wasn't all Tua's fault, which is primarily why Brian Flores got fired, because he had made up his mind he was going to sabotage Tua, which is fine. I mean, I read the reports that he said, Tua has a shitty work ethic. Do I believe it? Not for a second. Now, he might have got mad because the kid likes to golf. Who cares, man? Who cares? He's entitled to recreational things that he wants to do. That don't make him a bad football player. Because when you ask him to go out there and perform, like against the Patriots, did he not win the game? Yeah, he did. He won the game. 2 big third down conversions, he got him with his legs. Yep, he did that. But is people going to talk about that game? No. They want to talk about the Titans game. They always seem to highlight his worst game. It never fails. He could throw, like the Atlanta game, he threw for over almost 330 yards. They don't care. No, that was Jacksonville. He threw for almost 330 yards. They don't care. He lost, and they highlighted that he lost. That's all. If he had won the game, oh, they ain't about talking about that. There's only a handful of people talking about it that support Tua. I support the Dolphins as well, but I'm still a Tua fan. I tell anybody that I believe in what he can do. What I would hate to see, though, is them move on from him and he goes somewhere else and lights it up and wins a Super Bowl or 2, and then the Dolphin fans send it to my woulda, shoulda, coulda because they chose to let him go. I'm not saying that, you know, Ryan Tannehill would actually get a ring, but he's in position. Yeah, they're #1 seed right now. And they play, I think, this Saturday. And he has a chance to go to the AFC Championship game and then play for a Super Bowl. And he was in Miami. And he had a much better offensive line in front of him than Tua ever has. Even Dougie admitted that. Tannehill had a much better line in front of him. And they did nothing with it. But anyway, guys, with that being said, I guess I'll be doing more videos down the road because I have the ESPN thing, so it updates me on what's going on. So I'll be following the Dolphins page closely, trying to see what they're going to be doing in the coming seasons. Because after the draft starts, then, you know, free agency going to kick in, I guess. And then from there, you know, it'll be a who's who thing. But the draft will be interesting because I think the Dolphins got the 23rd pick. So kind of curious to see which route they take. Who would they get at that pick? Or maybe they move and get somebody else. Who knows? It's going to be interesting and fun to see, though. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think. What do you think? Because I really want to know. But, yeah. Like, comment, subscribe. Please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I can go live now, but I mean, I really want those subscribers up. So please subscribe. Anyway, guys, be blessed, be safe out there. Peace.